Impressions with Adetola Kayode, showcasing people from different walks of life and how they've been able to add value. Impressions, making the difference.
I've always wanted to be a lawyer, and I'll tell you a cute story. My father tells that story till today. When I was in high school, you know, in Nigeria, they have I don't know if they still have that system. They have the first 3 years and then the last 3 years in high school. When I finished my first 3 years, he wanted me to be a medical doctor. I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer. I don't know why, but I can say I've loved to be a lawyer since I was a child. And he found it strange that, you know, he wanted me to be a doctor. But anyway, at the end of the day, he said, okay, you know what, you do whatever you want to do as long as you succeed at it. And so he let me alone. And then I went to college in Nigeria, and I came here actually today marks my 20th anniversary in the United States.
Nigerian-born U.S. citizen Bamidele Adelayo, an immigration and defense lawyer in the United States, and how he became an attorney. He had his first degree in law at the Ogun State University, now Olabisi Onabanjo University at Goiwe, before proceeding to the United States for the same course.
You know, when you are a stranger somewhere, you have to get accustomed and used to the society, to the ways and manners of living, so you don't fall afoul of the laws and you don't get in trouble. So I went back to school, and then it wasn't the easiest thing. I mean, especially the educational system in Nigeria is different from what obtains in the United States. I have 3 law degrees also, and I have a master's degree and a JD. But yes, I guess part of that is always because I've always wanted to be a lawyer, and I enjoy the practice of law. I especially the immigration practice. I delight in helping people. My happiest part of the day is I go to the mailbox and check out a mail, find out what clients have been approved or what applications have been approved. It makes my day, so I do enjoy the practice of law.
He made a brief comparison.
Different compared to the way and manner that the teachers teach law in the U.S. They had at OSU, it was more like regurgitation. You were imparted knowledge. You were not made to think. There was no critical thinking skills. Okay, but in the U.S., so that was why it took me a while to get used to, because you would be assigned a reading, right? You'll be assigned reading materials. And when you get to class, you'll be called upon. Mr. Adelayo, can you tell us in case of, Ford versus GM, what the judge's ruling was? Why did the judge arrive? What was the issue in the case? Why did they decide the way they decided? What do you think about the court's opinion? How would you argue the case if you were representing Ford? How would you defend Ford? Or if you were representing General Motors, how would you represent them? So it made you think, how you would argue cases in court, which I really, initially, I was not used to public speaking. We never thought public speaking. It was hard, but eventually you catch on and you get used to it, and you thrive at it, and I enjoy it.
Plus, recommendations for the study and practice of law.
They should emphasize the practical training, because that was another thing I learned. It would call it a clinic, legal clinic, where you have experienced attorneys or lawyers teach or mentor students on how to present their cases in court. They should also emphasize, settlement, to settle cases rather than having cases, in court for years and years. I know for a fact, my father has some of his cases still pending in litigation in Nigeria in courts.
Impressions, making the difference.
Relocating was not easy. It wasn't the hardest thing, and it wasn't the easiest thing. In the sense, I was fortunate because of my age. At the time I came, when I was 24. So compared to somebody who comes at 50, I don't know that I would want to come to the United States now at my age and start this process, because it would not be that easy to acculturate, to learn how the system works, and to advance. I'm not saying it's not possible. I still know older people who arrive, but the older people that I know, after a year or two, they feel frustrated. And especially if you have an executive in Nigeria who's making lots of money, and then he or she comes here, and then I have to start a security guard or work at a hospital as a nurse's aide or whatever or whatnot. It can be frustrating. So. But at times I have people, when they come as older Nigerians, they say they do it because of their children. So to answer your question, I would just say, I was just fortunate. Everything worked out for me, and well, no, I mean, I was fortunate, and God was on my side, and I worked hard. I worked hard because if you come in as an immigrant, you have to double your efforts. Okay, things are not going to be handed to you. You don't have, pot of money sitting lying around somewhere, and you have to be able to show that you merit what you're asking for. I practice criminal law and immigration. Criminal law is also a good area of law, or criminal defense. But think about it. You have somebody who wants to bring a wife, who wants to bring a son, who wants to bring a father. Okay, and they've been struggling over it, especially somebody in the immigrant community, and they do not know how to go about it. And you're able to successfully help them bring that family member. They will be grateful to you forever. I've had cases in Africa where you have husbands wanting to bring the spouse. I had this guy, an American, wanted to bring his wife from Benin Republic. They went through the process, before they hired me over, and they got frustrated. And, thankfully, within 2 years, the wife came. And he and I are still very good friends. Once in a while, he calls me up and says, "Hey, baby, I just want to check how you're doing." That is the kind of satisfaction I enjoy, that I derive. Or somebody getting his or her work permit. Those are the things that makes me love or enjoy what I do.
Impressions, making the difference.
You have to know if you want to do it. You take a couple of classes, and also, when you're in law school, work, find a firm that does immigration law. Find pro bono. There's some agency that do pro bono work, meaning free work for their clients or the ones they represent, and try to get mentorship. And then that will tell you whether or not you have an ability, or you have a knack, or you have an interest in that area of law.
Successful in helping both Nigerians and non-Nigerians handle their immigration issues, Adelayo has been running his firm for 10 years and been in practice for 14 years with several commendations and plaques for it. Married to a medical doctor, Adeola, they have 3 children. Bami, as he is fondly called, shares with us what he does in his free time.
On Saturday evenings, I play soccer. I love soccer. Growing up, I played a little bit in Nigeria, and I still play. Not that I'm any good. I just play for fun, and I play for exercise, and I just, just to enjoy it. And I also watch soccer once in a while.
He is most definitely looking forward to reforms in the Nigerian legal system and a more conducive environment for business to thrive in the most populous black nation in the world.
Impressions with Adetola Kayode, showcasing people from different walks of life and how they've been able to add value. Impressions, making